This is a battle in Total War Warhammer 3. It's on a map. This is another battle in Total War Warhammer 3. It's also on a map. How can two different battles from two different campaigns at two different locations be fought at exactly the same place? This is what's known as repetitive map syndrome, and it's the leading cause of map fatigue and death in 9.3 out of 10 Total War Warhammer players. That's not good. In fact, it's so not good that I made this video to talk about it and what it means for battle maps in the highly anticipated Total War Warhammer 40k.
Total War Warhammer 40k map, man. Total War Warhammer 40k map, man. Total War Warhammer 40k map, man.
I recently finished campaigns with both Colfrance and Scarbrand, and during the playthroughs, I thought to myself, yeah, this is fun, I'm having a good time, this is great. But do you know what wasn't fun? Besides, every siege battle, idle AI, and a trivial boring late game. I had fought battles across the entire empire. The lands of the Frenchonian Night People. The deserts of the Southlands. Then the Border Prince territories. But I fought on the same battle maps about 9,000 times. That's when I died from repetitive map syndrome fatigue disease. Being dead gave me lots of time to think. This same battle maps over and over again problem is bad enough in Warhammer 3, especially given the scale and size of the Immortal Empire's campaign. But in Total War 40k, Creative Disassembly have hyped up a campaign map that will span literally the entire galaxy. Which means if they don't make some impressive design decisions using procedurally generated smart maps, or at least borrow a page from Shogun 2's book where the battle map reflected where the battle started on its campaign map, in Total War 40k we could be fighting on the same battle maps over and over again, even though we're on completely different worlds millions of warp light years apart between said battles. That would truly make the galaxy of the grim darkness of the far future feel really small, boring, sad, and small. But avoid Hammer Time Guy, we don't know how it will work. They haven't shown us any details about 40k battle maps yet. Shut the fuck up! While that's true, I believe these things are worth discussing and making videos about, because if there's even a 0.01% chance this topic becomes apparent and popular enough amongst players, also known as the people who give Creative Assembly money, and the development team behind Total War 40k actively acknowledge samey maps as an issue that's important to us and put in the work to implement a cure for repetitive map syndrome instant death fatigue disease, then it's worth it. Anyway, what do we actually know so far about maps and how they'll work in Total War 40k?
Scale of the battles up to the scale of a region of a planet, to multiple planets in a system, to multiple systems across an entire galaxy, right from down there all the way across the galaxy.
Fantastic.
Now, as amazing as this sounds, practically speaking, it feels like we're getting two new layers of campaign map spread onto the classic Total War formula we've all come to love and enjoy. The region maps of planets might correlate with the standard campaign map of previous Total War games, but then that zooms out even further to a planetary and galactic scale map that make up these crusade theaters, which then contextualize and provide a more focused campaign structure in a huge galactic map. Awesome, sounds great, can't wait. But this becomes so much less impactful and impressive if the final battle of your campaign is being waged on a planet that has the exact rock, tree, and statue formation in the exact same place as the first battle you ever fought, or rather, it's exactly the same map, copy and pasted with different themes, no matter what planet you're actually fighting on. For the love of the Dark Gods, I hope Creative Assembly are working on and will eventually reveal some kind of battle map generation feature for Total War 40k. Procedurally generated 2D and 3D game spaces have been around since, well, apparently for 40 years now, and for such an important part of one of the next biggest grand strategy games of the modern era of gaming, it would be a real shame if Creative Assembly literally continued to repeat the same disappointing mistakes of past titles. We can imagine many possibilities and solutions, like the aforementioned procedural generation. or providing map designers and artists with a huge modular map development tool to efficiently produce countless map possibilities, or campaign map to battle map one-to-one translation, which was kind of how Shogun 2 worked. There are many solutions to this problem that don't need to compromise on quality. What I see a lot of when it comes to Total War maps is players are more often than not more than happy with a nice big uncomplicated flat map with enough room so that Total War can do what Total War does best: mash big f***off armies together until one is dead and all routing. The dynamic cover stuff they've touted does sound interesting, but and I know many of you, will reserve judgment until we see it in action. But when it comes to Total War maps, simpler is often better. No one wants tree acne or needlessly complicated siege mechanics with convoluted urban layouts or whatever the f*** this is. I cannot wait for March to see what Creative Assembly have been cooking for Total War 40k, and I'm sure you're excited too. Since we're talking about you now, what do you think? I'm genuinely curious. I'll be making a video replying to and answering every comment from my previous video, which was about the 3 biggest problems that Total War Warhammer 40k could face before it even gets released. And this video will be no different. I think talking about Total War 40k and understanding what we want as players so Creative Assembly can understand what to make for players can only lead to a better game. So honestly, what do you want to see when it comes to maps in Total War 40k? What battle map generation techniques do you think are feasible? Do you think procedurally generated maps would be too soulless and boring, and then in a weird way become just as repetitive as what we have now? Would you rather see a handful of handcrafted maps but then die from repetitive map fatigue syndrome disease disorder? What do you think CA will actually ultimately implement in Total War 40k when they announce more information? We as players with disciplined wallets have the power to influence development for the better. Monkai together strong. Thanks so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want more, leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Axes must feed. Decapitate them. Horn basks. Will you delete? Spill blood. Skulls. Blood. Must towards war.